It's Wednesday, my dudes, which means it is patch day in Oceania. We're going to be getting the 9.16 mid lane SoloQ rundown today, talking about some of the shifts in the mid lane meta, and just talking about some of the changes that are going to be occurring in the mid lane, so that you guys can hopefully abuse some of these picks on the patch and climb some divisions. Starting off, as always, in my S tiers, Ahri and Malzahar. I get hounded a lot. People say, "Oi, bruv, why are these two champions still in S tier?" It's because they're good. They perform very well, they're very consistent, they're not getting nerfed, they're staying at the top. If you want champions that perform consistently at the top level, Malzahar, Ahri, pick these, you'll climb. Moving down, Kled. Kled's still sticking up there. He's a great counter to a lot of these immobile mages. We're going to be seeing a lot more Syndra, a lot more Orianna this pick. Kled is perfect into these type of picks. Even the Kassadin, man. The Kassadin moving across, he was buffed. The W, an extra 30 flat damage on the Kassadin W. This means his short range matchups, think things like the Echo, who was buffed this patch, the Fizz, even some of his counters like the Zed, some of these AD picks, he's going to be doing way better into them. And the extra damage on the W is just going to be allowing him to come out of these trades way further ahead. The problem with Kassadin is there's always counter picks. There's always picks that can just put him into the fucking dirt. Things like the Lucian, the things like the Talon, the Jace, Kiana, Zed still does very well. These picks, Kassadin is still going to struggle into, but he's just going to be bringing a little bit more oomph into the lane now with that W, a little bit more burst, and he's going to be doing very well into these short range matchups early on. Moving down now is the Cassiopeia. Now for Cassiopeia players, I would be banning Syndra. Syndra counters Cassio very well. It's one of the best counters, and right now Syndra has been absolutely giga buffed. The Cassio right now performing well on the patch. Be careful when picking it, but overall, I think Cassio right now is still a very good pick if you want to one-trick her. She's easier to play after the quality of life fixes. I think a patch or a patch 2 patches ago maybe, where they made her spells able to be buffed and the W a shorter range. So definitely Cassio is able to be picked, but just be careful of this Syndra, man. These Syndra buffs went through. I personally I'd have one of the most amounts of Syndra games in the world. Easily. Thousands and thousands of Syndra games. When I saw the buffs, 10% extra damage on the Q, the empowered Q at level 9. Holy shit, bro. 10% extra damage. That's going to be 25 additional damage on her Qs at level 9. Also, E increased damage. I think it's 15 damage increased on her E. So, I mean, dude, Syndra is just, it's so insane. I think in SoloQ, Syndra doesn't do as well as something like in Pro Play, where it's a more controlled environment. I think in Pro Play right now, over the next week or two, Syndra is going to be the most picked mid laner. Mark my words. Syndra is going to be fucking contested very often. The problem with Syndra, and especially in SoloQ, she's immobile. She can be picked out very easily. Kassadin has been buffed. Things like the Ahri perform very well into Syndra, because you can just simply ult. You can glacial slow them if you want. Throw a charm. Syndra has no way out. If you get the sums of a Syndra, if you get a flash and you hard engage, she's done. She's over. Echo was buffed this patch as well. Great Syndra counter. So while Syndra is super strong, and I think her raw damage right now puts her at the top fucking echelon of mid laners, the counter picks are definitely rising up, and you've got to be careful when picking her. Rounding off my S tiers, my God tiers, is the Talon, the best roaming mid laner right now. Talon, at the end of the day, I think he's still performing better than Kiana. He's much simpler to play. He just lacks that CC that Kiana has. But overall, I think Talon is still a superb pick. And you should be picking him up if you want an AD mid right now. Moving down now to some of my A tiers, we see Nocturne was buffed. He got some stat buffs like rounding. I think he got 3 extra health, 3 extra mana. These changes are irrelevant. But he did see a 10% attack speed buff to his passive on his W. This helps Nocturne out a lot, especially in the mid game, getting those extra autos. And especially when you're getting that Spear of Sojin, which I like to build on my Nocturne mid, it's going to be allowing you to get extra cooldowns earlier and allowing you to get 2-3 E's in a single engage, meaning the enemy is permanently feared. So yeah, I think with the rise of things like the Syndra, I think with things like already in place like the Cassiopeia, I think Nocturne mid is super underrated. If you're looking for something spicy that is going to be performing very well, Nocturne mid is for you. Also changed this patch was the Echo mid. We saw 10 damage increase on the E. Simply means extra kill pressure in lane. I like this. We also saw pretty drastic changes to his ultimate. I believe he got level 2, level 3 ultimate cooldown reduced. At level 3 ultimate, so at level 16, you can get a 50-second flat echo ultimate. So with cooldown reduction, let's say you have 45%, rounded to 50%. That's a 25-second echo ultimate. Realistically, you're not going to have that much cooldown reduction, but you can get a 35-second echo ultimate at late game. The thing with these type of buffs is that the win rate doesn't really get affected that much by that type of ult. Like, if you think about how you late game team fight, you go in, you get your combo, you get an hourglass, you get something off, you ultimate back. By the time this is all done, the fight is pretty much over. Do you realistically think having an extra ultimate 35 seconds after that, as opposed to 50 seconds, is going to change that many scenarios in the game? Not really. Is the buff still nice? Yes, it's definitely needed. I think Echo, super fun champion to play and watch. He's a great counter pick to things like this Syndra, things like the Corki, things like the Azir. One thing to take note, they nerfed, I'll talk about this later, they nerfed Corki and Azir this patch, but they hard fucking buffed his counters. In what world does Riot Games think, okay, we're gonna completely hardcore buff the counters to Azir Corki, but also we're going to nerf Azir and Corki? How about this, yeah? Buff the counters, just leave the champions as they are, leave Corki, Azir how they are, and just wait a patch, man. Like, holy shit. Come on, let's use our brains, right, please. Moving across, Twisted Fate. Not much to say about Twisted Fate. Nothing is really changing. Twisted Fate, in my opinion, he definitely struggles right now, especially with things like the Syndra getting buffed. I think it's still a great pick. You see Dope is still playing plenty of Twisted Fate and excelling on it. That's pretty much, I mean, there's not many Twisted Fate players right now excelling with the champion. Moving down, Rumble Mid. I think Rumble Mid is broken. I think it's still super strong. I think they took the 20 or 30 damage shield off of his W a couple of patches ago. It doesn't matter. He still performs very well in the mid lane. What else can I talk about in this mid lane? Orianna is such a strong champion. At first, people were telling... I was saying from day one, Orianna is a strong champion, play her. People telling me, it's a dog shit champion. It's strong. I'm telling you guys, it is strong. It's highly contested in high elo Korean SoloQ. So much damage early on. It packs a huge punch, but you have to snowball with the lead because the scaling, I mean, the scaling is not good, man, at all. It's super hard to play. But if you want to look for something new, a little bit unique, Orianna is probably going to be the pick for you. We also saw some Leblanc buffs this patch. They put an extra 0.1 ability power onto her Q. This was the nerf they did a while back onto the Q. So the 0.1 ability power, extra damage on the Q. It's definitely going to help. It is going to help her, and they did buff her E a couple of patches ago. So I think Leblanc is definitely rising up. You've also got to think that Kassadin was buffed. The good thing about Leblanc right now is how shit Ryze and Lissandra are performing. These two champions and Galio, they're performing dog shit tier. So LeBlanc could actually end up getting out of control if you start banning Kassadin and you start having a really good time into things. You can pretty much have a good time in any of these mid laners right now in the S tier, except for the Kassadin, honestly. Sylas was also nerfed. The jungle clear speed was affected for Sylas. This doesn't really affect him mid lane. I mean, it's an indirect buff. If you've got some free time and you want to clear jungle camps, it's going to take you longer. But overall, I think Sylas is still a great pick. One last thing I think I want to touch on is the Camille mid. I think Camille mid is just busted, man. Dopa has been playing a shit ton of Camille mid. It is super strong, underrated, great pick into things like the Syndra once again, into a mobile mages. So if you're looking to pick up something spicy, man, Camille mid, Camille, Rumble, Renekton, Nocturne, Kled. These picks, man, people don't think about them. They don't think about picking them. You can take people by surprise. They don't know the damage numbers. They don't know the all-ins. A lot of mid laners don't know how to play against them. And you can pick up a lot of kills. No bull games. Moving across to my B tiers, we see the Orianna. So Orianna was changed this patch. Her E, her ball, your allies can now see how far they can travel away from the ball without the ball bouncing back to the Orianna. So how many times have you seen you put like a ball on the Jarvan? Jarvan just fucking jumps into them. You press your ultimate, and all of a sudden you're like, ah, fuck, he's gone too far away. The ball's ulted on me, it's done nothing. So they're trying to fix that, and that's definitely a good thing. It's going to allow a lot easier synergy for your teammates. So I think in lower elos, this is going to help out Orianna a lot. Essentially, I mean, the damage numbers are exactly the same. It's the same champion. It's just making it a little bit more simple to play and your teammates to play around her. I think it will definitely increase her win rate, but at the end of the day, things like the Syndra, things like the Cat, like there's plenty of picks that do so fine into Orianna that we're not going to be seeing her essentially picked into pro play and high elo games, simply just because of this change. Another champion I want to touch on in the B tiers is the Diana. I think Diana is really good right now. You pretty much can just go a Spellbind, a Deathcap, just one-shot everything, run all the way around the map, perma-roaming. I think her style is very good. I still think she's not quite that S tier. I think she's very close to A tier. She could actually quite be A tier. I think that she's like right in the middle. I can't quite fit her in, but I think that she's definitely very close. And if you're looking to pick up a champion with so much burst and roaming styles, Diana is probably your go-to pick. Another pick moving down, I think, is the Aurelion Sol. I think Aurelion did very well into things like the Azir and the Corki, but when into matchups like the Syndra, matchups like the Kassadin, Echo, you can't really play Aurelion Sol, man. So I think with the downgrade of Corki and Azir coming down, they're going to be getting picked less. Aurelion as well, he is struggling right now. One tricks can make him work, but the rest of us, let's maybe wait for next patch. Essentially, they're going to be shipping the new Aurelion Sol changes next patch, so I'm excited for that. Let's just see how he performs then, and then I can make a complete judgment call on whether he should be up in the A tier, but I still don't think he's going to be anywhere near the S tiers, even on the next patch. Lastly, capping off for some of my not optimal tiers, I think if you're playing these champions, you've got to one-trick them. Like, the Irelia has an overall 44% win rate for a reason. It is such a hard champion to play. Only specific matchups and scenarios she's good in. The rest, it's almost impossible to perform unless your name is TF Blade. If you're looking to one-trick these champions, the Yasuo, Irelia, the Victor, you can do them and perform well. Overall, I wouldn't recommend these champions at all. The Ziggs actually saw a big buff. The ultimate, I think he got an extra 20 seconds off of the ultimate at max level, and a little bit of extra AP on his W. Does this magically make Ziggs come out of fucking... I haven't seen his Ziggs in 100... I haven't seen Ziggs almost all season. Is this small buff going to put Ziggs straight S tier? No, nobody's going to be picking Ziggs. Maybe a couple of bot lane picks. Maybe you could play him bot lane in pro play. Maybe we'll see it. I still honestly doubt it, man. I think Ziggs overall is not a good enough champion to put him and leap him up into the A and S tiers with a minute buff. So overall, that's my 9-16 rundown, guys. I hope you've enjoyed it. Honestly, it's going to be such a spicy patch. I'm glad Riot put huge changes in. Although I disagree with a couple of the changes, such as like nerfing the Azir, the Corki, while buffing counters, I'm still really happy they're putting huge buffs through, like the Syndra buffs. And essentially, this is to kind of mix up the mid lane meta, man. Syndra goes up, the counters also go up, the counters go up. I just like big changes like this, rather than tiny little fucking changes that just bring every champion down, and then scalers like Azir, Corki just rise up, just essentially because every other champ is shit. So right now, I'm excited to play in the patch. I'll be playing on my stream tonight, testing some of the changes out. Hope you guys can join me, and I'll catch you next time.